Welcome everyone to our first video, hopefully in a long line of videos we're going to be making in the next few weeks. We have three purposes for these videos. The first is to be an encouragement to everyone who tunes in. The second is to stay connected during this time and in the future. And the third, and kind of the main thrust of what we're going to be doing, is answering questions about what's going on out in the world today and what we can do as Christians during whatever's happening. So the coronavirus, whatever's next after that, good times, bad times, answering these questions and figuring out what we can do as Christians in that time. So, Pastor Geary, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing good today. I can't always say that I've had good days. I've had some bad days too. But today's just a beautiful day out there. The sun is shining. The birds are singing, the grass is growing, the flowers are blooming. Spring is coming, so I'm really encouraged.
So I'm wondering why you're so encouraged, especially today, considering social media, the news, everything's telling us that we should be worried, we should be fearful. This virus is spreading. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. Why are you so encouraged today, though?
Well, I'm watching a lot less news, but
Good idea.
I guess when I go outside, it reminds me that God created this world in which we live. And because he created it, we know he cares for it.
Right.
And because he cares about his creation, we know that he is preserving it and he is controlling it and governing it just the way he intended it. And so I'm encouraged when I see all of that. It's functioning exactly the way he wants it to function.
Okay.
For example, in Psalm 104, and I kind of pinpoint a couple of verses here in two sections. The Bible says, he sends the springs into the valleys. They flow among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst, and by them the herds of the heavens, the birds of the heavens, have their home. They sing among the branches. He waters the hills from his upper chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of your works. And then here's another really nice section in Psalm 104. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows it's going down. You make darkness, and it is night, in which all of the beasts of the forest creep about. The young lions roar after their prey and seek their food from God. When the sun rises, they gather together and lie down in their dens. Man goes out to his work and to his labor until the evening. Now, apart from that work part at the moment, it looks like things are going the way God has planned them to go.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm encouraged.
That's amazing to think about, just how much God has control even over the littlest details in this creation.
Yeah, you remember when Job in the Old Testament was going through his trouble.
Right.
He had enormous trials, and his health was always on the line, it seemed. And he questions God many times. But God asks him a series of questions that he can't answer, and God's focus is on the world that he created. And so that focus is all about the fact that God is in control, and he is governing this world in which we live.
Yeah. I think maybe we should look at a couple of those
Okay.
passages. Job 38, one that most people know well, but in Job 38:4, this is God talking to Job when he's trying to ask him rhetorical questions, basically. And he says, "Where were you, Job, when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determines its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? To what were its foundations fastened, or who laid its cornerstone, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy?" So that's talking about the expanse, obviously, the things well and high above us. And God is saying, Job, if you know so much, where were you when when I did all these things? And of course, Job has no answer. But he doesn't just limit it to everything above us. He brings it down to our level as well. And in Job 39, starting in verse 26, then he talks about nature and the animals. And he says, "Does the hawk fly by your wisdom, Job, and spread its wings towards the south? Does the eagle mount up at your command and make its nest on high, or the rock dwells and resides on the crag and the rock and the stronghold. From there it spies out the prey, and its eyes observe from afar. I mean, just the level of detail that that God is in focus and in tune and controlling. I mean, we can't get away from it. We can't escape his control. He knows everything that's going on, and just what an encouragement that should be to us, that we can rest in that. When fear and anxiety, especially what's going on in the world right now, comes, we can remember that God knows exactly what's going on in the heavens, and he's making that happen, and he knows exactly what's going on with the ants and the hawks and everything going on right next to us, and he's making that happen and function the way he intends it to function. Just amazing that he's in complete control of everything.
So when you're out there social distancing,
Right?
and I've been taking some walks outside, and I will talk to people from a distance.
Yes.
The thing that has really impressed me is that God is not socially distancing himself from us. So keep that in mind,
Right.
that God is not keeping an arm's length distance, that he is there to encourage us.
Yeah.
And he encourages us with his providential care of the world.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps it up for our first discussion together, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And check back often, because we're going to keep this going, keep a series of videos going, and we're going to continue for the next few at least to talk about God's control of creation and what's going on, and what we can do as Christians to honor him and to support each other, especially during a time of crisis. So thanks for tuning in.